Hello, beautiful soul. This is a totally unscripted opportunity to join me in a guided wisdom well process. We are focusing today on feeling triggered by global economic and political events. We all know what it feels like to be in the permanent washing machine cycle of crazy, insane, traumatic, difficult, polarizing global events. You could wake up feeling completely calm and peaceful and then take one little scroll on social media and find your nervous system reacting. So this wisdom well is me guiding you, but you participating in your own beautiful way so that we can send that bucket into your wisdom well, drink from your own clear seeing, and help support your nervous system and help to support you in bringing that wisdom from the depths to the surface of your life so that you can transform any inner obstacles and stay in the sovereignty of your being. I'm going to be also inviting you to grab any piece of paper and a pen and to participate in some doodling. And I'm going to be doodling, drawing ordinary lines. This is not an art exercise, although one could argue there is an art element to it, because there is something about drawing, especially intentionally doodling, not creating symbols, not trying to represent, but allowing our hands to move, to echo what the felt sense, the somatic sense is in the body, that really helps us to tune in, to translate, and to alliteration time, transform. To move from a state of being in discord to coherence, which is really how we access our inner wisdom. Wisdom is not knowledge. Wisdom is not words. Wisdom is clear seeing and being. That's why it has the power to transform. And there is something about the art and the simplicity of moving the hand intentionally that helps us to dip below the surface noisy mind where language dominates into our mother tongue. And our mother tongue, the language of wisdom, is the language of resonance. And there is something about the felt movement of the hand and the simple drawing exercise, the simple doodling, where you doodle how it feels, that will assist you in digging your wisdom well. And that's what we're going to do today. So you ready? Get your pen and paper and let's access your inner wisdom together. To dig our wisdom well, which is always the first step, it's very important to realize that when we dig our well, we want to get our hands in the dirt. We can't skip the rocks and the surface in order to access the beautiful wisdom, that the ordinary clear seeing wisdom that we wait for underneath. So with your pen and paper, without any attachment to what it looks like, I'm going to invite you to intentionally slow the drawing down as we focus on the topic of the day, which is how your body responds to the news, to the whispers, to the comments, to this endless, destabilizing, stressful, worrying world. Take a moment to notice what's happening in the body, what's happening in your heart, in your body. And now we're going to let our pen move and you don't have to copy what my pen is doing. I'm going to be tuning in to our felt sense of this. Some of it will be shared, some of it will be belonging to me, some of it may be echoing through into this collective field that we create. But the idea is just to be honest about what happens in the body, right? What's happening in the body when you notice this political, economic polarization. There could be a tiredness. There could be this stress, this noise of the mind. This could be this feeling of divided, endless, polarizing. So don't judge. Simply invite your body to reflect. This is how I'm actually feeling. This is what happens in my chest. This is what happens in my body. And just go with it for a moment. There's no need to interpret. There can just be this sense of when I hear some news, when I bump into what's happening in the world, what is the felt sense in the body, and translate that. Let that speak through the lines. Some lines will want to go fast. Others might slow down a little bit, but your job is not to do anything but spend a moment or two with me and your pen and paper, doodling. If you want to color in pieces, if you want to really put the urgency or the anger or the frustration into the page, you are most welcome. This is not an art project. It's a helpful, reliable way to sense, to get into our hands in the dirt. This is a visual for the language that the body knows, right? So you just do that for a moment or two. We're going to just work for another perhaps 30 seconds or another minute. This represents how my body feels. Folks, don't try to be spiritual. Don't try to be perfect. Don't be afraid of your actual feelings. They belong. They belong. No matter how petty, no matter how unconscious they seem, this is how we also honor our humanity. We're not trying to appear to be perfect. We're not trying to be right or wrong. We are simply sitting with the felt sense in the body and letting it express. And breathe. Breathe and support your body. That's how we dig our well. Now, this may activate a felt sense in the body. This might feel uncomfortable, very likely. The gateway to wisdom, the gateway to transformation is to be willing to be uncomfortable, to trust yourself, to sit with discomfort. And that is how we dig our well. Now we're going to move on to creating a bucket, right? So we've dug our well, we've woken up in our nervous system, the felt sense. And when you look at your drawing, it's not about interpreting. Don't let the mind or the ego grab it. Simply just allow it to help you get into the resonance. We are going to ask. We create a bucket. So stay with me. And let's do that now. The question is the intention. And the intention could be, how do I face this? How do I get equal to this? These are all excellent, strong buckets. You can form your own words here. What I would just suggest is don't lean into closed questions like should I, or will something happen or not, or is this? So all closed questions that have yes or no answers are like very limited buckets. They're like little tiny thimbles instead of deep buckets. Our wisdom, because it's clear seeing, sees in wholes, and because we see from wholeness, that binary dual language of yes, no tends to shut down wisdom. It can help to set intentions, therefore, like how does wisdom see this? How does wisdom see this political environment? What do I need to see right now? What is helpful for you? That's a great question. What do I need right now? It's like asking the water inside of us of wisdom. It's asking wisdom to respond. It's setting an intention. It's being willing to see differently. And this takes some courage, right? Because our questions, just the fact that we are willing to question, is an act of courage. Your willingness to see deeper than the surface mind's noise is an act of courage. It's not bypassing, it is the courage to go deeper than the surface. So all we do now is set that intention, and then we move into opening to wisdom together. So focusing on that felt response in your body, focusing on that somatic resonance language. Our bodies are so honest. Our bodies tell us exactly what's really happening. Now we set the intention to find wisdom. Now we set the intention to have a deeper seeing. Get a new piece of paper out if you'd like. And let's tune in together. We're going to tune in, we're going to translate, and we're going to transform. We're going to find out what happens when wisdom meets the tension. Follow my voice. We're going to slow down now. Wisdom is like a carrier wave. It's not manic. And it helps to support the nervous system in tuning into wisdom. First, really helpful to be present for the body, which is why we're also using the doodling. But now, instead of tapping into what the surface feels, to that tension or the stress or the suffering of the body, where we are triggered, now we're going to feel deeper. And to do that, doodle again, but this time, and it could start still with the tension resonance, the song of tension, but here, draw as slowly as you can. So just take your time. We're going to say, how does wisdom see this? What is the deeper truth? And we're not interpreting, we're not finding words yet. We're just letting the doodling. So this is about, I am resting attention deeper now. I am setting an intention, feeling the felt sense in the body, and every now and then if you feel the need to close your eyes, that can be perfectly natural. Close your eyes, and then open your eyes every now and then, but let the hand continue to move slowly. And if you find it moving up faster, just slow it down. As slow as possible. How does wisdom see this? What do I need to know here? What do I need to see? And we're not pushing for answers yet. We are simply tuning in, means letting that bucket hit the water. And for that to happen, we want to slow down. Slow down. And feel as if a song is playing that you can't hear but that you can feel. We feel with the body that something sings in us that feels more stabilizing, that feels more peaceful. That there is an opening. So we open to the opening. We open to the opening. And even the smallest amount of increased openness, even just the subtle sense of, here it feels more open now. My heart feels like a bit of a relief, yeah? If you feel that sense of relief, that's how you know the bucket is filling with water. That is our somatic cue that we have access to wisdom now. Your body is honest. And with even a slight felt sense of opening, a little bit more peace, a little bit more stability in the nervous system, that is where we move from tuning in to translating. What do I need to see right now? What do I need to know? We feel into the noise of life, but we look at it from this. How does wisdom see this? How does wisdom see this? So you're welcome to carry on doodling if that's working for you and helping you to join me in this mother tongue, to join me in this felt resonance where we let the water of wisdom bring its song to our nervous system, to the mind, to the heart, and to the gut, so that we might be strengthened, so that we might have the opportunity to see more deeply from wholeness. So when I allow words to flow as a translation, how does wisdom see this current political environment? I'm going to just let words flow now. Stay with me. There's intentional pauses. Invite yourself to feel into the music, the inaudible music, the home song of wisdom that is resonance. And just notice. That's all. Just notice. The mind plants flags always, divides always, that it is necessary, it is part of the functional reality of life. And we thank our minds for providing this function, the function of dividing left, right, up, down, a necessary part of what it means to be a human being, because The nature of this reality is that we aren't singing this deeper song of resonance. Language is a product of living on the surface, but it is a part of reality as long as we realize its limitations. That when we use language from the surface mind, we plant a flag and there is always an opposite. Always. And through that opposite, we create tension. This tension is not a bad thing, it's not a good thing, it is a part of the reality. What is limiting, what is always destructive, is the unconscious claiming of a flag as an identity. When we form an identity around what the mind has claimed as a flag, as a label, and we build an identity around what is essentially a perspective, a point of view. It is like carving a hole in a fence, looking through that hole and then deciding that point of view is who I am, instead of realizing it is a point of view. It is a flag in the sand of the mind, of the surface mind. If we are brave, if we are courageous, if we seek truth, if we are willing to be uncomfortable, we remove ourselves, we step away from the hole in the wall. We lift above the flag of the mind, or we drop deeper than the surface. And in so doing, we've gained a broader view, a more expanded view. We realize this wall has many holes in it. Each of them is a possible point of view. How can it be that I claim one as an identity and then go to war with another point of view? The deeper truth, the way wisdom sees, is it sees the flags as functional, but not as identity. The moment we see different points of view as a functional, necessary, and potentially helpful part of reality, but we don't crystallize and concretize them into identities, then we turn that tension into a dynamic force for growth, where I am willing to meet someone who has a different point of view on the bridge. I am willing to understand that these points of view are different, and difference does not divide. Difference has the opportunity then to invite growth. Then I can respect, appreciate, truly difference without it being a threat. And now, as we draw this felt sense of seeing duality, not being blind to it, of appreciating different points of view for what they bring into functional reality and the possibility of growth, but how we live this wisdom, which is the fourth step in our wisdom well. The courage to drink this, to teach this to our bones, to ourselves, is to look for where we form identity from a point of view. Where do I form an identity from a point of view, from a perspective? Where am I claiming an I from a limited way of seeing? I have made a limited way of being. I have turned a hole in the wall. I've turned a small portal. I've turned one little perspective into an identity. I've made seeing equal being, and I've not realized that the way I'm seeing is limited, therefore my being is limited. The way I'm seeing is separate through separation and duality, therefore my identity becomes separate. And in a world of separate identities and I's, there is always going to be fear and hostility, inner and outer war. Deeper wisdom says, on the surface of life, it is necessary, it is wonderful to have differentness, to have an explosion of life's songs appearing in all their different expressions. The mistake is to translate that differentness into the true ground of being. The ground of being is non-dual, undivided, which we feel and sense if we notice. Notice how wisdom feels. Notice how the edges dissolve. Notice that the song of wisdom, when we slow down, when we doodle, when we invite that home song into our nervous system, resolves and dissolves the sense of divided boundary. Even the physical sense of where is the edge of me disappears. And the moment we feel that deeper truth, there is relief for the nervous system. The triggers have the opportunity to heal. And we can stand in the world as one that appreciates external surface difference, that every wisdom well can be unique and different, but the water we draw on is the same. And we don't form an identity from the surface seeing. We know the ground of being. And that's how we can still see political realities, see the tidal movements of life. Not to feel separate from, not to be immune from suffering or tragedy. To see insanity where insanity exists, to see tragedy and to know sadness, but to rest as the ground of being, to be strengthened by it, to trust the song of wisdom within us that is deeper than language, deeper than flag planting, that sees as whole and can only see wholeness. And this home song, when played through a nervous system, has a stabilizing effect, has a contribution to make. It invites an expanded way of seeing and being into the field, into the timelines that we are weaving together. It is why we are here. Wisdom has the power to transform the surface of life from a dead, dry, polarized, tortured existence where we believe we are separate creatures fighting for scraps. This is an invitation to claim the sovereignty of your being, of our shared seeing and self, to walk with dignity through suffering, to see as the peace that has no opposition, the love that has no object, and to let that move our lives differently. Thank you. Thank you for joining me in this Wisdom Well experience. Be gentle with your nervous system. If you need to sit and be quiet, please do so. If you need to ground, take your shoes off, wiggle those toes, walk, breathe, and join me for our next Wisdom Well as these spontaneous opportunities to work together continue to be a part of how I love showing up for the shared work that we do together.